Hello and welcome to the Fan Zone here at the Nationals. Day 3. We've been up on this stage for 3 days now, and we are live on social media, on Facebook. So anyone tuning in, if you've got any questions for us, then send them in, because today I'm very excited. I have a fantastic guest. He's laughing, but we're excited, Spencer. The wonderful Spencer Wilton. Thank you so much for coming on the sofa.
That's a pleasure. Very pleased to be here.
I know, you're looking quite nervous, actually, Spencer. Don't worry.
You know this is not my favourite thing to do.
So anyone watching on Facebook, do send us in your questions, or even if you just want to say hi, let us know where you're watching from. Give us a shout out, because as always, I have the wonderful Bobby Hayler with me, who's going to be grilling Spencer as well. And anyone watching, if you've got any questions for Spencer, there's quite a lot of people out there today. Good morning. Just give us a shout. I can pass a microphone. Darren, if you've got any questions, then any good questions for Spencer, make sure this is your chance. This is your moment. But Spencer, National Championships here at Somerford Park. I mean, first of all, you've been to many national championships, but what do you think of the new venue? What do you think of it?
I think we all got really used to Stoneleigh and it felt really comfy, but this has always been one of my favourite venues as a Premier League, and I think they've done an amazing job. It's got a great atmosphere, stabling's great, surfaces are great, so yeah, long may it last.
And people are going to be wondering, what are you doing here? What are you competing in? And we've just been having a little bit of chat of this, because you actually haven't competed in a nationals for quite a long time, because you've been doing championships and got winning medals and things.
I think the last time I competed was 2015. And I've gone down a few pegs, and I've come back, and I'm doing the medium today and the elementary tomorrow.
And we've been having quite an interesting chat about that, actually, because you're having to actually learn tests again, aren't you? And remember where you're going.
It's my bugbear. Now, well, not this year so much, but riding the Grand Prix, you ride it so many times, I don't even have to think about where I'm going. But yeah, as you said earlier, now having to remember tests and ride at the same time is a whole new challenge.
And you also are here, so anyone watching today, Spencer is going to be in the main ring later on doing a masterclass. So we thought we'd get you up here and find out a little bit more about what your masterclass is going to be about. And I know that Bobby's itching to ask you quite a lot of training questions to give some of the fans at home a little insight into how you train. But quite intimidating going into that arena and coming up with ideas of what you think people want to know about. How did you get inspired? Because you train a lot of people, so have you taken inspiration from your masterclass of what you train people at home and common things? Yeah,
I think I was thinking about it, and the two things that, whenever I'm teaching, the two things that crop up the most that people have problems with are half passes, always seems to be a problem, and flying changes. So I just thought that I would use some of the exercises that I use when I'm teaching and also when I'm riding myself that seem to work for me. So I wanted to try and give some exercises that people could take away and hopefully use and improve their own horses.
And obviously, half passes, flying changes. For a mere mortal who can barely go in a 20-metre circle, that actually sounds like quite high-level stuff. If someone was watching it this afternoon, comes up, thinks, I'm going to bomb down to Somerford and watch Spencer in action, is it relatable down in the lower levels as well?
Absolutely, because there's so many of the basics that are relevant, right from prelim. So, but it is, the majority of the people, as I said, that, it's always something that it crops up time and time and time again with all sorts of levels of riders. They all want to improve and they all want to do a half pass and do a good flying change. So, yeah, we're going to give it a go.
And Bobby, is that because you train a lot as well? We were talking last night about how you back-to-back lessons on a daily basis, trying to book in to try and find time with Bobby is almost impossible. Is that something as well that you see? Are you going to be looking forward to the masterclass?
I have to say, I'm going to be looking forward to the masterclass. No pressure. But because I really enjoy watching you ride and everything, it's incredibly informative. And it's interesting, Jenny, when you said, for people that aren't quite doing half passes and things yet, what would you recommend that they should be able to do before they start attempting riding the half passes and the flying changes?
The exercises that I use actually incorporate all sorts of things on the way up to actually achieving a half pass or a change, but certainly a basic level of way of going is a help. But suppleness, obedience, traverse, making sure that that's in place, leg yielding for the half passes, and then the flying changes. There's a list of things, but basically, I think in my experience, the things that ideally you need in place. Obviously a good basic canter, being able to ride transitions within the pace, walk to canters, canter to walks. And the key thing really, I think for me anyway, when I'm riding is having a really easy shoulder 4 positioning available to you. Because that's the thing I think that probably I would use the most when you're correcting a horse, and also trying to control their body position on the line that you've got them on.
Brilliant, thank you there, Spencer. So, and also when you've spoken about now that you're doing the elementary and the medium, so it's a little bit more difficult in so many ways, the extent of the Grand Prix, because, well, I don't even know how many times you've been down that centre line at the Grand Prix, but it's many, many times. For people that struggle to learn how to remember tests, which is quite a common thing, is there anything that you do that could possibly help them at all?
I struggle. So I haven't really, well, I mean, please God, shouldn't be talking about this just before I'm about to get on and ride one, but I'm quite good. But having said that, I did have to go out a couple of weeks ago and do a couple of mediums, and I'd not done either of them before, and my lovely groom, Claire, did read the tests for me. She did that actually a few weeks earlier, and I still went wrong. She told me to turn left, and I turned right.
It's okay, we've all done it. It's fine.
Yeah, so touch wood, it hasn't actually happened too many times when it really mattered, other actually than the first time, I think, years and years ago when I rode on my first Nations Cup team, got my senior Union Jack to put on my jacket, and I cantered down the centre line to do the Grand Prix and turned the wrong way. Oh, no. And then what made it even worse was the next day for the Grand Prix special, I did the same thing and turned the opposite way. So I went twice. But yeah, that was not a memorable performance.
That's quite good, because actually leading on to my next question there, and okay, that's one memory that I don't think you'll ever forget, but is there anything, you know, maybe in a lecture demo where you wanted to show something off and the horse was adamant that they weren't going to do it, or something like that, where you've had to very quickly adapt and change what you're doing?
Well, I actually haven't done a huge amount of them, so thankfully I haven't been in that position yet, and I'm hoping Darren, who's riding in the demo today, I'm hoping that he's not going to let me down.
If it goes wrong, you can actually just blame Darren. Do you hear this? You have this now on camera, Darren, that this is what's going to happen. It's all your fault from here on in. And you have had loads of success at the Nationals, and you were national champion 2007 with Delendo. And then now coming forwards, how much have horses changed since like Delendo? Do you find that when you watch the Grand Prix now and you watch the national champions, have horses changed? Have they developed? What's different now to when you were national champion?
I think the horses obviously have changed, and the quality is a lot better than it was back in those days. Horses are a lot bigger movers and more athletic. But I think the biggest thing that's changed now when you look around at all the levels, particularly when you get to the championships, is everyone just rides so much better. You know, people really, you know, you look around and people have really upped their game over the last sort of 10 or 15 years, and the standard is really, really good. So I think that's probably, you know, you've got better horses, but you've also got better riders, better training, a better understanding, and yeah, so it's tough at the championships. You got to. I know that you've got your short jacket on, which you've squeezed back into, Spencer. You've brought it out of the cupboard. But even at the lower levels as well, are you finding these young riders coming through? It's just the standard is unbelievable, isn't it? It's quite frightening even how good these guys are. I know, and you look around and the younger generation, they're all, I think they look up to, you know, the likes of Carl and Charlotte and see the way they ride and how accurate they are and how beautifully they sit. And they are aspiring to get better and better because of their, you know, riders like them. So I think, and yourself, you have got an Olympic medal in your back pocket. Let's remember that. But yeah, so I think that it's amazing when you look at the younger generation and see how they're coming through. And I think, you know, it'll be really, really exciting in the next 10, 15 years to see where they all get to. And Bobby, obviously you teach a lot of the younger riders and see people coming through. Do you find that as well, that what these guys have been doing now is really aspiring these riders? Because obviously before we didn't win that many medals, sorry dressage, but now it seems like if we don't win one, we're disappointed. And have you found that's fed through what these guys have been doing down to the people you teach?
Absolutely. I mean, you're all so inspiring. You know, we love all sitting there and watching you and doing well and coming back with a medal every single time. So I think what it's doing is teaching the younger generation to have so much more ambition and fight, because they want to continue doing that for Great Britain. And I think that's what the difference is. So automatically their mindset is changing, because, you know, before it was always like, oh, well, we're not possibly going to be up there. But I think now it's like, well, this is how many gold medals we've got now, or silver medals. We've got to continue doing that. I think it's almost a healthy bit of pressure that's being put on them.
Do you think that's a healthy bit of pressure?
Definitely. I think, you know, back in the day when, like, as you rightly pointed out, you know, we weren't very off, well, never on the medal podium. And I think now they see that, you know, it's achievable, like you said, and I think that it's had such a positive effect on the younger generation.
And we have to talk about, you've retired him recently, Supernova, or Neville, who I just adore that horse. I mean, the cuddles that I get of him, I've got a lovely picture of him giving me snuggles. How is he? How's he doing? Is he enjoying his retirement, or does he want to get back in the arena?
He's quite happy. He's just basically hacking and enjoying himself. He's still at 18. A lunatic the majority of the time, and the only thing I don't know if he misses the work particularly, but he definitely, every time the lorry goes out or he sees Claire come out of the tackroom with travel boots, he's straight away thinking he's going to get on the lorry, which is a bit,
to a pony party,
which is a bit sad. But no, he's pretty happy, a bit fat and quite happy.
And knowing the success you've had with him and having a horse at that level, does that make it now easier to feel that what you're sat on could be a next kind of Olympic horse, or does it actually make it harder? Are you always looking for another? What has he taught you, getting you to that level, to that Olympic stage, to the World Equestrian Games? Has that horse taught you anything about now the kind of horse you want to ride or get on or train?
I think I just want an easy one.
One that's not going to drop you on your head.
One, exactly. I mean, I've adored riding him, and he has taught me so much, and without him I wouldn't be, you know, doing what I'm doing. But he is quite a special case, and he's given me many occasions of feeling like I possibly might hit the deck. But yeah, as a type, he's, I suppose now you would look at him and say he's a slightly old-fashioned type, but he had a real natural engine and a real desire to want to actually go, which makes life a lot easier, sometimes a bit too much. But he's definitely a horse of a lifetime. I think it's easy to kind of try and compare everything to him, but that there's never going to be another one quite like him, so you have to be a little bit more open-minded.
It's so hard, isn't it, when you've had someone that has been so close to you as well, to try and always, you've just got to not compare them. It's like choosing your favourite child. Not that I ever do that.
I was going to say, Jenny.
It's easy. All right, I know you have to go and ride in a second. It's been so wonderful chatting to you. Are you nervous about going into the elementary later?
No, well, I wasn't until you started talking about forgetting my test.
It's on you, Jenny. It's
yeah,
on you.
exactly. No, the horse that I'm riding today, Django, is a really, really lovely 7-year-old, and he is a real pleasure to ride. So I'm looking forward to it.
And we obviously just have had the Olympics. I'm going to put you on the spot, because I always quite like a question like this. Out of the horses out there now doing at the top level, the Olympics, is there a horse that you'd be like, do you know what, I'd really like to sit on that? Like, that's one I'd like to, that's my cup of tea.
I think now when you look at, say, the top 5 horses at the Games and at the Europeans, I think every single one of them, I mean, they all are exceptional athletes and beautifully trained and high-scoring quality horses, and yeah, I think it'd be a pleasure to ride any of them.
I think you might be a bit tall for Pumpkin, for Gio.
Possibly, and yeah, I don't think Charlotte would just dish out a free ride on him.
Well, good luck. Are you nervous for the masterclass, or is Darren nervous after hearing this? Darren, are you nervous for the masterclass? A little bit. Before I go, has anyone here got any questions for Spencer? I know this is, people absolutely hate me coming out with a microphone, so I very much doubt it. Any questions for the main man?
Have you noticed how everyone's looked the opposite direction?
Yeah, no, don't come near me with a microphone, Jenny. Well, good luck for the masterclass. I cannot wait to watch it. Thank you so much for talking to us. Good luck in your test later on as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Spencer. Spencer Wilton, everyone.